They said just such a loss for that family, the team, purse to them. He had such a good season too. You know, he ended up starting the last half of that season and then got the bowl game as well. So
just shows you never know what's going on in someone else's life.
Yeah, well, welcome back, guys. I'm excited to be back in the studio. I'm sure
We're back.
Zach is too. He's Zach Mackey. I'm Mary Kate Harrion, and welcome into our Courtside Show. You will find me and Zach right here every Friday morning to break down each of Iowa's matchups. Well, before we get started on breaking down Iowa's game tomorrow against number 3 Purdue, I think we can both agree this is just not how we saw the season going for Iowa. And for me, it's just so frustrating to watch because the talent on this team is absolutely ridiculous.
No, they've got the talent, and me and you both bought into maybe hyping this team up a little bit too early on. And the problem is that they're so young. They got so many young guys, and they're trying to get everyone behind them.
Honestly, I mean, I did think that this was going to be a lot better season than it was, but I didn't think it was going to be like the year for this team. I've been saying that kind of from the beginning. Yes, they have experience from last year, but when you start 4 underclassmen, it's still going to be a difficult year. Players are still getting used to playing with each other. And, you know, you have 2 freshmen, Nunji and Garza, so that's a big reason I think that Fran can't seem to find that consistent 5 right now. I don't think that they have that jock-type player either who's a leader not only on the court, but just, like, in his maturity as well.
Yeah, they need a scorer, really. Like you said, Peter Jock was able to get points when they needed it down the stretch. They need that guy, and they got a couple of young guys inside. Tyler Cook, obviously, is going to be a phenomenal player. Luka Garza, young. There are a lot of young guys, but they need guys that are going to be a little bit selfish, going to shoot the basketball and going to score because they find themselves in the beginning of the game down by 15, down by 20 at some point.
Well, so on Wednesday, I actually gave some of my long-term fixes for this team, so I'm going to give them to you right now. First up, I think Bohannon has got to see a little bit more time at that 2-guard spot. Maishy Daly is finally playing well, so he can give Bohannon a little bit of time at the 2. It'll open up the floor for the offense and also just give him some more opportunities to score as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Bohannon is that he's such an elusive ball handler. He's able to get up and down the court, and yet he makes some of his best shots whenever he's got a guy in his face and he's halfway down the court. We haven't seen this same Jordan Bohannon that we saw last season throwing those trick shots up almost at half court. Making 9 3-pointers against Maryland. We just haven't seen that yet. So see if he doesn't grow into that as this season progresses.
Yeah, and you know, I know the expectations were extremely high for him after the season. He kind of hit a little bit of a rough patch, but we finally have seen him in the last 4 to 5 games. We've seen that old Bohannon. You know, he went off in the U of I game, and in order for them to beat Purdue tomorrow, he's going to need to play that way again. Yeah,
they're going to need him throughout this next couple of games stretch, no question.
My next point was offensive consistency, which obviously we all know is not an easy fix, but they need to start trying to find some rhythm with the ball, which also leads me to my third fix, which is they need to find that right 5. I understand switching lineups based on matchups and mismatches, but Fran needs to give that 5 some time out there to gain some confidence and to get some rhythm on the floor together.
Yeah, still trying to find that, a young team, but yet I know you're in the second part of the season. You got to have that now. And trying to find that consistency, like you said. But the thing is you want to stay with those guys. You want to stay in there, but yet it's hard, too, whenever, you know, Fran's the type of guy that if you're not performing, he's going to take you out. He's going to get somebody in there who is.
Yeah, well, that bench is just so deep that,
is.
You know, next man in isn't really the end of the world for that team. But I think against Purdue, subbing in and out constantly might not give the best look to them. But moving on to tomorrow's matchup, it is Iowa's first game against a ranked opponent this season, and I think most will remember last season's upset win against the Boilermakers in Carver. But not only is tomorrow's game important for the team to get a big win, but they'll also be playing to get a win for a specific former Hawkeye basketball legend. This weekend, actually today, marks the 25th anniversary death of former Hawkeye Chris Street. Street died in a car accident on January 19th in 1993, midway through his junior season. On Saturday, Street's parents, family members will be in attendance along with a number of his teammates, coaches, and support staff. A long list of other Iowa basketball alumni, including numerous former winners of the Chris Street Award, will also be in attendance to celebrate Chris Street's life. Street embodied everything that is meant to be a Hawkeye, and his legacy will forever live on.
Effort from Chris, who had to hit a 3 prior to the ballgame, but he does have that outside ability.
Back you
Off touch, but not soft enough that time. Street!
Let him go left, bring all the defenders over, and then it's Street all by himself for the dunk. And you've got some happy people in the stands, like his parents.
Mom and Dad from Indianola enjoying Chris's play, and he has 10 points in the ball game already. In addition,
Movement that time as all over.
Barnes kicks it back for Street, who's open. Right there for Chris Street. His first of the year.
See, he trails, sets himself up, steps behind the line as Barnes.
5 team fouls now against Iowa State and 4 against the Hawks.
Caught his own mishandled ball.
Street for 3, his second 3 of the ball game and of the season.
Bringing it, and you can see Street calling for the ball, putting his hand in the air. Smith bringing it right at.
9 in a row the Panthers have missed. Good pass again. Smith to Street.
And it will be a timeout for Eldon Miller.
The Hawkeyes have scored 14 points in a row.
Hawkeye players will wear Chris Street shooting shirts during the pregame warm-ups. The Iowa coaching staff will wear pins, and Chris Street's number 40 jersey will cover an empty chair on the Hawkeye bench. Also, check out today's edition of the Daily Iowan to read an excellent piece written by Adam Hensley and Pete Rudin on Street's life and legacy. You know, it was also good. We just heard good old Mac McCausland calling that game.
Yeah, that's an old throwback. Great job with that video. That was really good.
All right, Zach. Well, as we've said, big game tomorrow. Purdue has 4 guys who are averaging double digits. They rank first nationally in the scoring margin. What are your keys to the game?
Well, I'll tell you what, tomorrow right away, Iowa's going to have to get a quick start. A couple of times now down the stretch, they found themselves down, especially at home. If they can't get that home crowd in, that's what they're going to need. They're also going to have to be able to control the ball. Turnovers have just plagued them throughout, and finally they're going to have to establish their presence inside. There's a big boy, Isaac Haas, is going to be there throwing some elbows, so establish that inside game.
My keys are also, I have one of the same as yours, but first I'm going to start with patience. They need to slow down on offense, make the right reads, do not take dumb shots. Number 2, they need to find that right 5 like I've talked about. They need to gain confidence and gain that rhythm on the floor that we haven't seen so far this season. And number 3, just like you said, control the ball. We have to limit turnovers. They just forced 20 turnovers in their win against Wisconsin on Tuesday, so Iowa's got to come out strong. They got to take time with the ball on
Big
offense
opponent
as well.
coming up, man.
All right, well, that's it for us. Iowa will take on number 3 Purdue at 11 a.m. tomorrow inside of Carver Hawkeye Arena on ESPN.
Going to be a good matchup. We'll send it back over to you at the desk.